Welcome back everyone to Myelin and Me. I might have mentioned it a few times, but this is the best channel on YouTube for learning about MS. End of. And that's thanks to you guys who've been subscribing. When you're watching, like, comments, you just, brilliant. So thank you very much. This channel's growing and hopefully it'll continue. But I wanted to do a video today because I've had quite a few comments from people who literally been diagnosed and they're like, what do I do? So I want to do a quick video, and if you've been diagnosed recently, you're probably thinking, what does this mean? Where do I go? What's happening? You know, it's so many questions just go around in your head, and I want to give you 5 tips, probably my 5 biggest tips of what I would do. I can remember when I was first diagnosed. I can remember being in the neurologist's office and those 2 letters MS. I can remember it, and it's something you'll never forget. So you forget everything else that anybody's talking about because you just got that and you're like, what's going to happen to me? No one gave me a manual when I was in there of this is what's going to happen to you. You know, it's all mapped out for you. And as I said before, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional. This is just purely from my point of view. This is the 5 tips I would give somebody if they were diagnosed today. And number 5 is ACE. I know it's like YouTube cliche, isn't it? Stay to the end. Number 5 is brilliant. But no, really, it is a really good one. So please bear with me. Watch to the end because 5 is decent. It's decent, honestly. And that changed everything. So we'll start at the start like we normally do. And tip number 1 is 2 words. Don't panic. Simple. When you hear the letters MS, your brain goes straight to worst case scenario. You start thinking wheelchairs, losing my independence. You know, your mind just automatically goes, oh my word, this is what's going to happen. You know, and you could hear that terrifying phrase at first is word progressive, and you're like, oh no. But here's the truth. Most of what we think we know about MS comes from fear. Your brain's ace in there. It'll just go to worst case scenario straight away. But I'm not downplaying it. MS is serious. It can be life changing. Some people are lucky and it's not, but you know, it is life changing. And you don't need to map out the next 20 years right now, right? You just got to work out what are you going to do. So stay on tip 1. What I would do is I'd look into the type of MS you've got. If it's relapsing, remitting, secondary progressive, primary progressive. I'd definitely get as much knowledge as you can on your type of MS to start with. Don't look at the other ones. You don't need to at the moment. Then get a notebook and start keeping track of any sort of questions and feelings and symptoms, because you're not just preparing for MS. You're going to try and build a version of you that can live alongside MS, right? So it's 2 parallel things now. You're living beside it. Don't let it live on you. So tip 2, as I just mentioned quickly, track your symptoms, even the strange ones, because we all get weird, strange ones. MS is weird. Sometimes it's like obvious, like your numbness or your balance issues, you're falling over, all sorts of things. Other times it's more subtle, like forgetting words or feeling drunk after a hot bath. You know, we've all been there, and you're like, oh, this is weird. Is this MS? You know. So tracking helps in so many ways because you'll be more informed at appointments. You'll feel more in control, and you'll start spotting patterns like heat sensitivity, stress, things that trigger you, you know, which might happen 1-2 months down the line. You can be like, oh, right, well, it was a hot day a couple of weeks ago and I had these symptoms because of it. And you might just be able to sort of match it all in nicely. There's quite a few apps around where you can sort of, I think there's one called My MS Team. You can write down what your symptoms are and things. I'm quite old, so I just write mine in a notepad. I prefer pen and paper, but you know, all you techie people on here might be a little bit different. So you can go on to an app. But, you know, if you ever feel like dismissed by your symptoms, you can say, no, I've got it written down, yeah. I've written it down for the last 3 weeks. This is what I've been suffering with for the last 3 weeks. So it's empowerment as well. You can say, yeah, this is what I've got, it's written down. If it's not written down, it didn't happen. So tip 3 is to ask for help. It's not a weakness, it's wisdom. Now, this was a massive thing for me at the start. It still is to a certain degree, but I was stubborn, you know, really stubborn. I didn't want to ask for help. I didn't want to seem vulnerable. I didn't want to seem needy. I didn't want to seem like a burden. But, you know, MS will ask you to adapt, unfortunately. And sometimes that means letting go of your pride, whether it's, you know, accepting a mobility aid or applying for a new badge or telling your family how you're feeling that day. That's a massive one. Speak to your family. They're the ones who will matter and help you. You say, I'm having a bad day today. And you'd do exactly the same for them, wouldn't you? So, you know, turning on his head, that's what you do. So it's not giving up. It's saying, you know, this is the hand I've been dealt and I'm going to play it like a pro. Simple. So, you know, you say the things about help, asking for help, like counselling or a support group, getting someone to do the washing for you because you're too tired to do it. It happens, unfortunately, you know. I can't do it all. So ask, because the bravest thing you can do is not do it all alone. It's such a big thing to learn there. So we'll skip on now to tip number 4, which is find your people, really. We'll call them your MS tribe. Sounds good, doesn't it? Because there's something powerful about hearing the words, yep, me too. Someone just agreeing with you, someone who understands, because it can feel so isolating, especially when people around you don't really get it. And you'll hear things like, you know, you just need to rest, or, you know, have you tried yoga? Have you thought about yoga? See where I'm going with a little catchphrase here. Have you thought about trying yoga? Yeah, it's going to be a catchphrase in most videos now, right? Because everyone says it, don't they? It's a cure. It's an MS cure, honestly. So the point is, this condition is invisible, but you don't have to be. Sometimes it's not invisible, you know, if you're falling all over the place, like it's not, but when you're first diagnosed, it could be. So there are amazing online communities you can use, like Facebook. I don't really like Facebook, but I'm on there. And I use it for the communities, because the communities are superb. I've met some really nice people on the communities there, get a lot of help from them. Also, there's a channel on YouTube called, what's it called? Myelin and Me, that's right. Yeah. That's probably the best channel on the internet for, MS. So you're in the right place. So, but seriously, trust me, this can sort of save your sanity. Tip number 5, right then. Don't wait to live your life again, right? This is massive, this tip. This is the most important one. The diagnosis feels like a full stop, doesn't it? Like life is now on pause until you figure this out. You're never going to figure it out, because MS is not a reason to stop living. It's a reason to start really living. So, you know, take that trip you want, not literally, if you're going to go on holiday, I mean, right? Start a YouTube channel. Go for it. You know, go and eat that cake. Beautiful. Say yes to fun. No to things that are going to drain you. Okay? Don't stop living. And remember, it's okay to do things differently. Maybe you need a nap before going out. At least you're going out. Maybe you need wheels to explore somewhere. You know, gives you independence back. You know, maybe you need days out in short bursts. Who cares if you've got to split your day in two, just so you do it both? You know, it's not a limitation. That's adaptation. It's survival. are still living, you know, and you've upgraded your living because you're doing things which you never thought you'd do with MS. So, you know, I'll give you a quick bonus tip before I go, is your mental health matters as much as your physical. This diagnosis doesn't just hit your nerves, it hits your mind, you know, and that's a dark place. So if you feel scared, numb, angry, overwhelmed, you know, remember you're not broken, you're human. And whether it's, you know, I mentioned earlier, counselling, antidepressants, mindfulness, journaling, art's decent. Screaming into a pillow, that's another good one. You can try that one. Try screaming into a pillow. Whatever works for you, just do it. And if no one's told you yet today, you're allowed to grieve the old version of you. But don't forget, you're also building a new life, a new version. If all else fails, have you thought about trying yoga? And, you know, it's like kind of like, I'll just leave you now because you're probably all bored after tip 5. Probably, yeah, he's spot on this, but. So getting diagnosed with MS is like being handed a map written in a language that you don't speak, where half the landmarks are missing. But over time, you'll learn how to read it. You'll learn to find shortcuts. You'll take detours. And you'll build a life that's not just about survival. It's about strength, laughter, and showing the world what real resilience is like. So if this video has helped you in any way, drop me a comment, have a chat about it, let me know what you think. I'm always up for a little bit of feedback on my videos, so yeah, let us know. And take care, like and subscribe as usual, and I'll definitely speak to you on the next one.